having given me this opportunity to present. I'm very, very thankful to all of you. So to begin with, I'm venturing into a new topic. I'm just stretching myself. So I'm starting with a disclaimer also. Wherever I'm going wrong, please correct me. This is completely a venture for me to, get into this topic and then presenting it the way how I wish to present in the future. Right. So this is one of the case studies which we discussed in the BCAS RRC. It was the last question. So I don't know, because of paucity of time or the topic was so simple, or I do not know, whatever may be the reasons, I did not get clarity. So after going home, I did some research. I wanted to understand more and more. I did more and more. I got confused. So with that, I'm going to present today to bring in more clarity to my understanding. So with respect to the problem, the case study is very simple. It is not very complex. This is very common scenario in any real estate transaction. So this goes like this. There is a landowner who enters into a JDA with a developer A. Because of whatever reasons, the developer A is in financial difficulties. The project gets stalled. So he's not in a position to complete the project. He gets into liquidation because of financial difficulties. So what happens? The landowner finds another developer. We call it as developer B in place of developer A. So the question, this is what the basic case study is all about. So now when it comes to GST, there are so many questions come to our mind. So when a new, that is information screen. So that's what I said. I'm venturing into something new. I have not prepared. Whatever comes to my mind, I have just noted down. I'm going by that. There is no PPT I have prepared, but it is. So when it comes to the case study, it's very simple. Let me repeat. There is a landowner who enters into agreement JDA with the developer A. Because of incompletion or delay in the completion of the project, you can call it as a breach of contract. So the landowner tries to engage another developer B. So what are the possible scenarios that can occur if we can think of? There are various scenarios. Scenario number one, the original contract gets cancelled. The developer B comes into the, enters into the contract with developer A through transfer deed. Like in the sense, the developer A enters into a sale deed in the form of sale deed. So he says that it is only an outright sale for me. And he says that, there is no GST applicability. There's no application of GST because he's selling the building as is where is basis. Whatever is that building, it's an incomplete building. So when the developer B takes over, is there any applicability of GST or not? We have to examine. And second, of course, it is for a consideration. This is a scenario one. Scenario two, what we can think of, it can be like a relinquishment deed wherein there is no consideration is possible, or it can be a release deed where there can be a consideration with a just reimbursement of cost. So when I say scenario one, sale deed, there itself we are coming out with A has to sell to developer B.
Renu, you ask question because what happens, we don't know to listen or to read. You unmute yourself and you ask the question whenever the question time is there.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. You want to ask?
Please continue.
Okay. So this is one part. So what we are going to analyze is that, does it fall under sale? That is incomplete building, unfinished building through sale deed or whatever is that form of, release deed or will it form under sale? Then second is that the developer B comes into the shoes of developer A. That means, is it an assignment? All the rights, obligations, benefits, liabilities, duties, everything gets into transferred to developer B. The contract remains the same. Whatever contract entered into between the landowner and the developer A remains the same. In place of A, B is replaced. If that being the case, is it an assignment? What would be the GST applicability in case of assignment of right. This is scenario number 2. Scenario number 3, the developer A is in financial difficulty, so it goes for liquidation. So insolvency professional is appointed. If that being the case, will it form under operation of law? Whenever there is a contract is transferred or any kind of rights are transferred to another party through operation of law, what would be the GST applicability? So this is what we are going to analyze in the next 30 minutes. So before I get into, hope the scenarios are clear. Anybody wants to, sir, can I take a minute if anybody has anything to?
Venu, your questions. Hello, Venu.
We're missing in action.
Question time ಅಲ್ಲಿ question ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ question ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಆವಾಗ.
ಇಲ್ಲ.
Sir, what is your question, sir? Your question time.
ಇಲ್ಲ. No. I was no. It was scenario she created. So I'll ask after she explains. I'll ask the question. Only 2 more points which I also want to explore from is the sale which has already been made partially to the end customers by the developer A. So something collected, something not collected. What would be the position of that where the tax is paid, not paid, when the new person takes over? Even that also you please include me.
It's a continuation of contract. What as is where is basic. 5 people have booked the apartment or whatever it is in to developer A. Then the 5 people will pay the remaining balance to the developer B. The contract will continue.
Okay, we will again discuss this at the
We
end.
will come back to that. We will come. I have not analyzed. I am just telling you. So
Okay.
we'll come back to that. So the main point of discussion is that in case of transfer of building, unfinished building, does it constitute, like, is there any construction service rendered by developer A to developer B, or is it just a sale of immobile property? That is question number 1. And second is that whenever there is a cancellation of original JDA happens, what happens when a new developer, that is developer B, comes into the picture in the form, through assignment? What would be the applicability of GST? And the scenario 3 is that the consideration is received for, whatever the money received by the developer A from the developer B, because he is the one who's going to take over the contract. So is it called is it a condition to the contract, or is it a compensation? How do we go about the money received by developer A, because he has completed halfway? This is what we are going to analyze. So maybe when we discuss, there are many other doubts might come. We can always, free to discuss. Whoever gets any doubt, Jatin sir is there to explain. So the one thing which came to my mind, which I'm not bringing it here, is that what happens if in case of any any kind of works contract, because we are analyzing it only from the angle of the developer A breaching the contract. There can be a scenario where the landowner can also breach the contract, saying, if I am building a house, there is every possibility that unless and until I pay to the contractor, he will not be constructing. So I will every time I delay. So he says, you are delaying, so I am walking out of the contract. So the breach can happen from either side. We are not touching upon the landowner breaching the contract. We are just restricting it to only the developer not fulfilling the contract, right? So this is what we are going to discuss. So when it comes to legal provisions, I think I do not have to explain what is section 7(1) or forms of supply. All that it does not need any discussion.
Yes,
And
not
also,
required. Please proceed.
Sir.
No, all these basics not required. Please proceed.
So also, whenever there is a real estate transaction or construction services, we have to refer to schedule 2 para 5B, which talks about the construction. Maybe for this only, I will read it out because this is something very important. It says that construction of a complex, building, civil structure, or part thereof, including a complex or building intended for sale to a buyer, wholly or partly, except where the entire consideration has been received after issuance of completion certificate where required by the competent authority or after its first occupation, whichever is earlier. So what it means is that in case, when will it be called as a supply of service? Before completion certificate or occupancy certificate, whatever services rendered in the form of construction of a building, civil structure, part thereof, half constructed, whatever it may be, it will be called as a supply of service, provided the completion certificate or occupancy certificate, the money, the entire consideration, has been received after the OC or CC. This is what clearly says under para 5B of schedule 2. So if you look into schedule 3, 5B, again 5, it says sale of land subject to clause B of paragraph 5 of schedule 2, sale of building. So it says that if it does not fall under schedule 2, then you go to schedule 3. Basically, that this overrides schedule 2. If it is not a construction, then it is a sale of building, which is neither supply of goods or nor supply of services. So this is what the basic 3 things which we have to understand with respect to this with respect to the case study. So one is 7 forms of supply. We have to test whether it's a supply or not, and then we have to see whether it fits into schedule 2 para 5B or schedule 3. That's all we have to analyze. So in the second question, we talked about the developer B coming into the shoes of developer A. This was the question also, like, unfinished project is assigned to developer B. So when we say assignment, frankly speaking, I mean, I was little, apprehensive about that word because it requires thorough understanding of what is assignment. The more and more you dig, more, more things, at least I had to read and understand. So as far as the assignment is concerned, what is assignment? In just simple terms, we all know that contract law consideration can flow from anybody. Say, for example, if I go to a shop, I am buying 5 kg of rice. Let's take some example. I can tell my friend to make the payment. If she makes the payment, because the shopkeeper will keep quiet because I just have to inform him. I do not have to take his consent, right? As long the benefits are transferred, there is no consent is required. Okay. Instead of me getting bill to ship to all that, instead of me receiving the goods, if I am telling somebody else to receive the goods, there is no benefit. Whenever there is benefits are transferred, there is no consent is required. This is one piece of information which we have to keep in mind. In case of assignment, the entire rights, obligations, benefits, duties, and liabilities are also transferred. Right? So I had some differences there, whether liabilities can be transferred or duties or obligations can be transferred. But after reading a little bit, sir, please correct me. So in case of assignment, all the obligations, that means duties and rights, benefits, everything can be transferred from one person to the other, provided you take the consent of the third party. So let us go to the example. Sir.
Then what is difference between assignment and novation?
I'll come. Sir, novation, what I understand is that the contract dies. Say, for example, I have to give Jatin sir, say 1,000 rupees. Jatin sir has to give 1,000 rupees to Venu, right? So what Jatin sir says, instead of giving it to me, Sujata, please give it to Venu. So you are going out of the picture. So the contract between you and me and Jatin sir and Venu dies. The contract exists only between me and Venu. This is what I understood from novation. Whereas in case of assignment, everything gets transferred. The contract is not dying. Contract remains the same. So if I go to a shop, if I have to go back to that same illustration, I'm going to a shop, I'm buying, say, rice. I'm going to a particular shop to buy rice only from that shop. The shopkeeper cannot say without my consent, okay, you get it from my neighboring shop. So his obligation cannot be transferred without my consent. So this is one key difference which I thought I will share it.
See, when you told your friend to pay the shopkeeper, you don't need consent. But when shopkeeper tells you to take the rice from neighboring shop, your consent is required. So now which is assignment, which is not assignment?
Sir, because she is fulfilling my obligations. I have to inform her, I have to take her
So
consent.
that is between both of you, but shopkeeper is not bothered about it. So
Correct.
shopkeeper's consent not required.
Correct.
Shopkeeper's obligation, somebody else is fulfilling, why your approval is required?
That is what is assignment is all about. In case of
No.
assignment, assigner, assignee, and third party are involved. So it is basically the three tripartite agreement. In the assignment, consent of the third party is very much required.
Nobody's consent or no consent, the real test of the nature of assignment. No. Consent is a secondary aspect. What is this contract we will see first? Whether consent will be secured or not, if it is to the benefit of the third party, consent will come automatically. Why does the third party care about who pays the money? As long as money is paid. So we are mixing up privity of consideration with privity of contract.
Sir, because in my example, I'm going to that shop only to buy from that shop. So it's a specific.
You want rice. You don't want to give business to that shop. That is not your goal in life. Your goal is to buy rice.
Goal is to buy the particular rice from that with particular quality.
Such a remarkable example. Such a situation doesn't exist. See, if you say that there is some dependency on the particular supplier, then there must be something unique that nobody else can perform. So it's impossible that you can go to somebody else.
Sir,
I'll give another example. National Highway Authority of India gives a contract to L&T to construct the highway. L&T said, I don't want to do it. I will give it to Nagarjuna Construction. And you're saying that L&T has the capability. That is why NHAI gave the contract. Now, since L&T wants to assign it to Nagarjuna Construction, NHAI's consent is required.
Yes, sir. Without obtaining consent from NHAI.
But tell me, I was planning not to interrupt, but you are forcing me to interrupt. See, if L&T has the contract, is awarded the contract.
Yes, sir.
Is it an assignable contract that was awarded or non-assignable contract that was awarded?
That depends on the contract.
No, all contracts are non-assignable. If I want you to be my auditor, I want you only to be my auditor. If I don't care who is my auditor, then I will not give it in your name. Auditor, anybody who catches on whom this appointment letter lands becomes my auditor.
Correct.
In a crowd of chartered accountants, I just throw this letter somewhere and whoever it lands, that is not the way these contracts are entered into, isn't it? Where the service providers' capabilities are a material fact in the award of the contract, it will always be a non-assignable contract.
Oh, okay.
First. Second, non-assignable contracts can be terminated and re-awarded, but not assigned. Because it is a privilege of the person awarding the contract who he wishes to award the contract to. And if the person he wishes to award the contract is not in a position to fulfill the contract, it is the sole privilege of that person awarding the contract, whether at all to award to anybody, or if he says, if you cannot provide the contract, I don't want to construct this road only. I am not under any compulsion to somehow construct and complete the road. I will not construct the road if L&T will not do the work. So you have to first demonstrate it is assignable. The original contract was not only a contract to perform, but also to assign. You will never find special contracts permitting assignment. And if consent is given to assign a contract, then it amounts to substitution with a new contract. You cannot amend substantial portions of a contract where performance is outstanding. You can only amend minor aspects of the contract. If you amend the contract so substantially that by the time it is completed, the original contract and the final contract are unrecognizable from each other, it is not amendment. You cannot amend 90% of the contract and say it is an amendment. You can amend 10%, 15%, 20%. You understand? Non-fatal clauses can be amended. Essential clauses in the contract cannot be amended. It amounts to substitution of the contract. I'll give you an example. You ask me to supply rice. Then we enter into an amendment agreement. We change rice to wheat. Is it an amendment? It's not an amendment, because if you remove rice from the contract, what is remaining? Your name, my name, and rate per kg. So in a construction contract, if L&T's name is removed, is it a substantial portion of the contract or an immaterial portion of the contract?
Substantial portion of the
So
contract.
therefore, it is substitution with a new contract. The title may read as assignment. That does not make it assignment. Assignment, by the very expression, only includes benefits to remaining to be enjoyed of a executed contract. You have paid money and purchased PVR tickets. Now you only have to enjoy the film show because you have performed your part of the contract. You take that ticket and give it to Annapurna madam and say, you go with your family. So you have assigned it. She is attending it in your name. They will see, what is your ID card? Annapurna. What is your name? Sujata. What is this? No, I am the assignee of Sujata. She will only enjoy the benefits that was yours to enjoy. That is assignment. But if you substitute the party with a new party, substitution is novation. Substitution will be that from now onwards, all remaining unexecuted portions of this contract will be performed by Annapurna madam. Until now, Sujata had performed the contract. You understand the difference? So you have to ask, we have to ask ourselves, whenever we see a contract being assigned, was the right to assign at all conferred in the original contract? If you say you have to take NOC to do the assignment, then it is proof that it was non-assignable. If it was originally assignable, why did you now take NOC? If the need to take NOC is admitted, then it was previously not assignable. Now you're taking a non-assignable contract and replacing it with an assignable contract. Is the outstanding portions of the contract substantial to the contract or marginal to the contract? If it is substantial, then it amounts to substitution with a new contract. It is not rice 5 kg contract became wheat 5 kg contract. It is a substitution with a brand new contract. See, we can write any document we like, but is it possible to do those things is important. You can enter into you can give a purchase order to a minor. Why? Because in the computer type minor's name and address and you print it, sign it and hand it over, it is given. Is it a valid contract? We have to examine, not because the document is in front of our eyes. It is valid. Does it have the ingredients of validity? You cannot have a contract with a minor. So no matter how clever, how beautiful your laser printer prints, it is a void document. If it is a non-assignable contract, just because you enter into an assignment deed does not make it assignable. Secondly, if you pay stamp duty, you can register sale deed for Vidhan Saudha also. Sub-registrar is not going to interfere and say, why are you selling Vidhan Sauda? They are only interested in collecting stamp duty. They are not giving certificate of title. Therefore, payment of stamp duty is a non-issue. It is irrelevant to support the facts being asserted. Title of this amendment, assignment, novation, substitution, transfer deed is also irrelevant to support the facts. So we have to now work with facts. Is developer 1 allowed to assign it to developer 2? If landowner has to give consent, that means it was not assignable. If you understand, if developer 1 has to assign to developer 2 and consent of landowner is required, then it is non-assignable joint development agreement. Non-assignable joint development agreement, if you have to convert it into assignable development agreement, please tell me, is this change of developer A to developer B a substantial clause being amended or a marginal clause being amended? If it is substantial, then it is substitution with a new contract masquerading as an assignment deed.
Okay.
This is girlfriend pretending to be wife. இதோட கேவலமான எக்ஸாம்பிள் கொடுக்க முடியாது.
Sir, and one more thing is that for immobile property, assignment itself is not applicable. That, I mean, that also.
அது வேற விஷயம். We'll
that
come to that
it's-
later. We'll
So,
come to that later.
since the
Because
question is like that,
after Gujarat High Court judgment, everybody is using this word like a bad word. Assignment கண்டதுக்கெல்லாம் எல்லாரும் assignment பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கா.
it because in that book, maybe I can show in that Anson book, he himself has not clarified whether for
But you're
immobile
reading
property.
English law. Be careful.
English
You're
law
reading
only,
English
because-
law, not Indian law.
But in Indian law, sir, if you look at Transfer of Property Act from 130 to 135, it talks about only debt. I mean, you know, it's basically about actionable claim. It does not talk about anything about the, you know, property or anything of that sort. So probably we may have to derive from Indian Contract Act and then mix it here. I do not know, because if you look at assignment, you cannot find directly anywhere except section
Then
130 to
you're
130.
Then we have to now today agree, are only executed contracts capable of being assigned, or executory contracts are also capable of being assigned? If executory contracts cannot be assigned, what is the legal name for assigning an executory contract? Is it novation? Because there are obligations also. See, why will I take on assignment your obligations? You went ahead and negotiated a bad deal. If you want to assign to me, assign only benefits, not liabilities. Liabilities you take care. I'm not. See, assignment does not require consideration. You remember?
May or may not.
No,
It
you
does
gave
not.
ticket to Annapurna. You don't have to collect money from her.
But
If this ticket will go for waste, you may as well go and watch this film. That's all. You can't charge money for it. You are a very calculative person. You will charge money for it also. That's a separate aspect. But you understand? But assignment can be validly done without consideration.
correct.
So therefore, consideration is not the basis for validity of assignment. So assignment cannot have obligation. If I take your obligation and there is no consideration, is it enforceable? No, obligations cannot be lawfully assigned. Obligations have to be transferred. Like loyalty points accumulated by Standard Chartered Bank, they are sold for a price to these intermediaries. You understand? Therefore, assignment cannot be of obligations. It has to be only of benefits outstanding, and it will be enjoyed by the assignee in the name of the original contracting person. The original contracting person is not out of the picture. If there are any damages suffered, suit will be filed on behalf of the original person, not the assignee. Like an insolvency professional will file a suit against third parties to recover monies in the name of the corporate debtor, not in his individual capacity. So now your case study number 1, developer A assigning the project to developer B, is it legally possible at all?
It is not possible at all, sir. It is not possible, but the question says so we are discussing. That's what I have also written here. Because I could not find where is it assignment is fitting in. But the question, the case study says developer B comes into the shoes of developer A. He takes over the project. Whether the consideration, if whatever is money paid to developer A, that's a different story, because as you rightly said, assignment can happen with or without consideration. What happens if it is with consideration? What happens if it is without consideration? But if I go in detail, for immobile property, assignment itself is not possible. It can happen only for, say, that also temporary or permanent transfer of I think IP or patent, those kind of things are there. There is no concept called assignment of immobile property.
So now we go back to the first case study. Developer B comes into the shoes of developer A. How does he come into the shoes? That is the part we have to discuss.
So he can come in. He can come into the shoes only after termination of the contract. What happens if the contract is terminated? Maybe he would have entered into irrevocable, contract or whatever.
So first JDA is terminated.
So once JDA is terminated.
One minute, sir. When the first JDA is terminated, developer has incurred 50 crores expenditure in the incomplete building. Termination is not possible until that 50 crores is repaid to him. Who is interested in terminating the JDA?
Who is interested?
Landowner is interested.
Correct.
Not developer, not the second developer.
Correct.
Now the landowner has to pay 50 crores to developer A. Does he agree to pay or not? What is if he does not agree to pay, the project will stall and remain like that for another 25 years. So landowner wants to pay for this. As you know, there is this principle, what goes into the land goes with the land. If the landowner says, you only took a decision to start constructing based on your confidence to complete this project, if there are circumstances changing on your side that makes it unviable to continue the project, you are answerable for the costs or loss you are going to suffer from this contract. Had you successfully completed this contract, you would have probably made 25 crores profit. So these are perils of a business decision you have taken unilaterally. And as a landowner, I am under no obligation to compensate you. So therefore, for failure of the terms of contract, I will terminate this. I will not give you compensation. This is what landowner stand is. What can developer A do? Lick his wounds and go home. Next project, be careful.
That is one way of looking at it. Second way of looking at it is that I gave you land to develop. You did not finish it on time. You give me back the land, barren land you give me. So you have to give me compensation. That's also possible. The landowner can ask for compensation.
We have to now figure out what was agreed then. Developer B entered the shoes of developer A. Somebody easily sat in front of computer and typed out some garbage. Now, legally to discuss, you have to tell us what is the facts that we have to discuss today morning.
Sir, actually, developer B coming into the shoes of developer A will not, that kind of contract cannot come, but theoretically we are discussing. Practically what can happen is...
Commercially it will happen. We will not leave projects languishing like this. Somebody can come and broker a settlement between the disputing parties.
Yes, sir. So what can happen, what I am just, thinking of is that the contract gets terminated between the landowner and the developer A. So developer A has already built the building. So once all the rights, reversionary rights, all the rights get surrendered to the landowner once he pays the compensation. What is left is only the building. So what does he do with the developer A? What can he do with the building? He can rent it out. He can do whatever
No. Developer A will terminate and vacate the site.
Correct.
Landowner, let us say, agrees to give him 50 crore compensation for the incomplete building. Maybe it is worth 75 crore. Some negotiation, they arrive at 50 crore.
Hmm.
Is this compensation collected by the developer from the landowner at the time as a precondition to the termination liable to GST?
It's very much liable, sir, because he has done.
Compensation is liable to GST or
It is
consideration is
not
liable
a,
to GST?
it is not a compensation, sir. Whatever construction services he has rendered and he is giving it to
Construction
landowner.
service was rendered under the construction contract. When JDA itself is terminated, all construction contracts entered into various buyers also automatically stand terminated. If the foundation is removed, the superstructure also will fall.
Okay.
Legally, the JDA forms the foundation of all the booking agreements with various buyers. If the
Okay.
JDA itself is terminated, you think the superstructure will stand in the air? No, that will also automatically fall. People are interested to protect the buyer's interest. We will see that later. Once the JDA stands terminated, there is no more construction service.
Okay. Okay. So no more construction services only when he enters into any other new contract or anything. Only if he receives.
Developer A enters into no further contracts. He will exit the site and go take his 50 crores.
So
It is a compensation. Compensation is not consideration. Compensation is free from GST. Circular 178 also is there.
okay. So it's like liquidated damages you are saying, sir?
I'm not saying that. I'm calling it compensation because liquidated damages is also taxable. Although circular says something else. Compensation is not consideration. When you get a claim from insurance company, you don't get consideration from insurance company for suffering the loss. You get a compensation for the suffering that you have undergone. So similarly, this 50 crores is compensation, not as a quid pro quo for the incomplete building. What goes into the land goes with the land. So building value is now zero. There is a 50 lakh crores paid as compensation to secure the exit from the JDA. An unwilling developer, for him to become willing to exit the JDA, he needs compensation because he is out of pocket. So a compensation is agreed. This is not consideration. There is nothing coming to the landowner by paying these 50 crores because the incomplete building has already come to the landowner by theory of accretion.
Okay. So he will pay the compensation and award the contract to developer B.
Now a fresh JDA is
Fresh
entered
JDA will
into.
be entered.
Now developer B may decide to demolish the existing building, or he may somehow do the designing in such a way that he can include this incomplete building into the new design.
Okay.
So with the developer B, the privity of contract is not with developer A, it is with landowner and developer B. You understand?
Yes, sir.
For second marriage, permission of first husband not required. Only divorce from first husband required. You understand?
Yes.
Again, a very crude example. Because the principle we have to understand. There is no locus for first husband to give his blessings for second marriage. That's all we can do with the first husband.
I pause here and I think Venu has some, whoever has got any doubts, because let it be interactive, because this topic is slightly, I would say difficult.
Sir, one question. Sir,
Yeah.
we were talking about termination of JDA now, sir. While we had understood that it is a contract of agency comes into picture in terms of section 202, whether the JDA can be terminated is the question. Of course, there will be a clauses for termination. Scenarios explaining the situations where we can both the parties can come together for termination.
See, the interest in the property of the developer is protected by 202. Therefore, landowner cannot unilaterally terminate the contract and evict the developer from the site. But if the developer is causing the termination, the developer cannot continue to remain in occupation of the site. He will do the damage and he will claim protection. That is not the way it works.
Okay.
Sujata madam, what happens to the GSTs which the applicants who have paid to the developer before it got discontinued?
What is
Ganesh,
it?
that one we have to see when we get to developer B, how he will fulfill the outstanding the project, no?
Okay.
Contracts get terminated, and then all the contracts, whatever entered into prior to, with B, with A, will continue to operate from developer B. So he will continue to collect, right? If in case of any construction or something.
In my example, madam, he is coming out. He is coming out with a refund. He will get back the whatever money he has paid in between, along with interest.
Ganesh,
Ah, sir.
That
Ah,
is,
sir.
we are going into next topic. We'll finish the JDA, Rapa.
Right.
Whether refund will be given or refund will not. Who has money to give refund? All that is not way. See,
Sure.
as a going concern, in all good intention, everyone believed they were capable to fulfill their respective obligation. They started the project. You also did booking in one B category builders project. What to do? You can't expect infinite protection. You didn't buy insurance policy here. You also took a risk and booked this flat.
Correct.
You can't expect refund with interest. Fixed deposit lakidya.
Interest ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ sir actually.
Ayo,
that's a different. I'll come back.
See,
Yes, sir.
where are you mixing? GST
Sure,
ತಗೊಂಡು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇರು ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ.
Sure.
We'll come back to that. That refund, when it comes, we'll come back to that. Rohan Corporation, when we discuss, we'll come back. So what I understood from assignment is that, like, from the book reading, I have not created or anything. It says that, it has to be in writing, notice should be given, and it has to be absolute. Like, you cannot transfer something partial. Like, it has to be absolutely transferred, and it cannot be conditional. Consideration may or may not be there, but definitely obligations. Yes,
We
sir.
concluded in our 10-minute discussion that
sir.
assignment cannot be done. So
Correct.
why we are now going into how what has been agreed
Sir,
cannot
but-
be done, should be
Sir,
done.
but sir, since this topic is given, I'm just, then why the topic is given, sir? Like, it cannot
How
be.
can you explain why someone came up with a case study? You only have to analyze the implications of the case study. We concluded that assignment is not the way to go forward in this. Vivaga Radde, divorce the first husband, enter into second marriage.
Okay, so that portion is left out. Now what we have to analyze is that, is a construction service or sale of immobile property?
Madam, before we move to the next, I have a doubt. Can I? Yeah. Okay. So firstly, this is not an assignment and cannot be an assignment, but it also cannot be a unilateral agreement directly from the landowner just cancelling the agreement and paying the consideration. Because if we look at practically, the money will not be there with the landowner, and it's the only new developer who would be willing to pay the money. And he cannot, and he will not make any payment unless he is a party to the contract. So it would eventually become a novation where three of the parties would agree. And
When
when
it can't be novation, it can't be novation
Then
because novation is 1,000 rupees stamp duty. Second JDA is full value stamp duty.
No, sir. I'm saying novation for the termination, and there would be a second JDA. I'm not saying
Novation for termination.
Allah, sir, how like what?
See,
Why will?
I'll tell you. Second developer will be confirming party in the termination agreement. Second developer will give a temporary advance to the landowner and enter into a fresh JDA where the advance given in the termination agreement will be a RD or NRD in the second JDA.
Right. Now, when the consideration, okay, when the money is getting paid, it is getting paid basis on the financial hardship, meaning if the first developer has collected substantial advances from the customers, or he has collected some advances, that is also adjusted vis-a-vis whatever the work done. So there is a method which has been, which would be applied to arrive at the number, and that could be mutually discussed. It would still form part of a consideration and cannot be treated as a compensation, because we are
Venu,
yes sir.
that consent about the quantification does not
Huh.
change the character of compensation into consideration. Agreeing how much should be the compensation does not make it consideration. The basic identity remains. The basis can be how much work was done, how much money is collected, what should be done, so on and so forth. But that is not the basis in the contract. It is a back working that is done to arrive at 50 crores. 50 crores is the compensation for exiting this project.
If we say 50 crores is a compensation and would not suffer GST, is it, will it test the law, sir? I mean, again, I know it is a double taxation. The extra money that is being,
Compensation is not liable to tax, is not consideration. That is a very old concept, more than 100-year-old
no,
concept.
compensation is not, the circular also says, I'm only doubting whether it will survive the test that it is not a consideration. Because I agree, you said the method at which we worked at that number is after doing all those things.
See, I'll tell you what. Why
Yeah.
it cannot be consideration is, what does the landowner get in return for this? We have to see. The landowner does not get the unfinished building in return for this, because that unfinished building has already been sold to various buyers. Assuming that there is no inventory, all flats in the project have already been sold and people have paid installments. How can what has already been transferred to a buyer be now retransferred to the landowner? So the building is not being transferred back to the landowner by the developer. Once the building is constructed and the cement has hardened, it becomes part of the land.
The contract which was made by the old developer to the customers, by any virtue, will not get transferred to the landowner.
It is non-transferable once the JDA gets terminated.
Right.
Once the JDA gets terminated, the second set of contracts constructed on the basis of the subsistence of the first set of contract being the JDA will not survive.
Correct. So that means the landowner is also getting back something from the developer.
Nothing. He's getting back his own land with some incomplete structure.
Correct. So can I not argue that the consideration which is now, the money that is being paid is towards that incomplete structure which is being possessed
No, sir,
back?
just now we spoke that incomplete structure belongs to the customer. How can you say I will take it back and give it back to the landlord? Same thing. This is what is happening in Devanali. All the plots, same plot has been sold to 10 people. The object of the contract cannot be transferred to multiple people. It is once transferred to the buyer.
Right.
It cannot be again transferred to the landowner.
Assuming nobody has booked the booked the building.
See, you keep changing the question to disprove the answer. You give me pakka facts, then I give answer. You don't keep changing the goalpost after I played the game.
Correct. Yes, sir. I fully admit.
Wait, what? The facts are 100 flats incomplete, 90% complete, 100 buyers are there, agreements are entered into 100 people. After it is entered into 100 people, it cannot be taken back. And see, this is not we must not think of it like a kirana shop. I have given 4 chocolates. I did not deliver it. I will take the 4 chocolate back and give it to another. This is not the example now. Immovable property works differently. First case study only, we don't know the facts till now. Late ಆಯ್ತಾ ನವೀಣ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ ಟಿಫನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ?
ಇಲ್ಲ.
Sir, we'll go back to the first case study, sir. Maybe we will understand Rohan Corporation, sir.
ಏನಮ್ಮೋ பண்ணுங்க.
Okay.
In Rohan Corporation, we going to Rohan Corporation?
Sir,
Are we going to Rohan Corporation?
yes, sir.
You please tell me the facts correctly.
Yeah, I will.
Why did Resolution Professional demand 14 crores from Rohan Corporation?
I really don't know why he has.
Then don't go into Rohan Corporation because we don't know the facts.
Sir,
The
facts,
judgment also does not give the facts correctly.
sir,
Why?
I will.
Go on.
Sir, in Rohan Corporation, I do not know the background of that IBC case. What I know is only Rohan Corporation judgment. I did not read IBC. I did not read
No,
what happened to that.
You can't, madam, you're talking like this government people. Everything you're saying disclaiming. You are in the government, so you have to answer. Everything Nehru is responsible.
Okay,
You
I
are presenting,
will
you
explain
answer.
the facts, sir. Basically, the petitioner is Rohan Corporation, who's a real estate developer, and the respondent is Revenue, that is GST department. And this is a case which happened 1 year ago in the month of September 2024. It's a writ petition. And the facts goes like this. The Lotus Shopping Center was into basically construction of shopping malls, right? It was into construction of some shopping malls. It went into liquidation. Because of that, it was auctioned. I mean, because of it went into liquidation through IBC process. Insolvency professional was appointed. Rohan Corporation Private Limited, through e-auction process, it wanted to, through bidding process, it wanted to purchase that unfinished building, because that Lotus Shopping Private Limited was in the construction business. It has built some shopping complex which was halfway. Due to financial difficulties, it went into liquidation. And then through the insolvency process, one insolvency professional was appointed. And it went through e-auction. The Rohan Corporation participated in the bidding process. So Rohan Corporation was the bidder. So in the bidding process, the insolvency professional demanded 14 crore as GST for transferring this unfinished building from that Lotus Shopping Private Limited to Rohan Corporation. So the Rohan Corporation, what it did, it paid the GST amount through protest. It did not pay, it did not want to pay, but still it paid under protest and claimed a refund from the GST department. GST department issued a show cause notice. It refused the refund of 14 crore. So that this is what the background and facts of the case. So, yes, sir.
The insolvency professional charged 14 crores for the unfinished building is what? Unfinished land, unfinished building sitting on a parcel of land to Rohan. That is the fact that you are giving us.
Yes, sir.
Insolvency professional collected GST from Rohan Corporation.
I think
No.
it is not collected.
Rohan Corporation paid under protest.
They have paid under protest and claimed refund.
They paid the GST to department or to paid it to the resolution professional?
To the department.
How, madam?
Sir,
what are you saying? Madam, one minute. You are the resolution professional. I am the bidder. You are charging me GST. Obviously, you are giving me invoice. Correct? No. You will collect GST from me and pay to department.
Correct.
I am saying you should not charge GST. But you are saying, no, I don't know all that. I have to pay GST, so you have to pay GST extra. I protested with you. I did not protest with department. Department is not coming and asking me. I am a buyer of an incomplete building. I paid the GST to you. and I filed refund application to department.
Okay, so
Department said, who are you? Kodavella? Because department received payment from insolvency professional. Somebody has paid the refund, the GST amount. Who are you to come and collect the refund from me? I went to High Court. My lord, this fellow is not giving me a refund, and I have complained to the judge. The judge said, no, you have to give the refund. You understand this? Arrange the sequence of events correctly. The GST was not paid by Rohan Corporation to GST department. 14 crores was protested and paid to the resolution professional. Now you have to explain whether resolution professional had any GST liability in the corporate debtor, which was discharged using these 14 crores, or this 14 crore was for that incomplete building. In a e-auction, what is the sale for? The sale is of the land, sale is of incomplete building, sale is of the entire assets of the business as is where is basis. What is being sold? We don't know. 14 crores means almost 100 crores. 80-90 crores is this net sale consideration. Correct, no? So therefore, we don't know the facts. At the assumption that we can make is insolvency professional paid GST to department. Rohan Corporation was demanded to pay the GST by the insolvency professional. It is like when you go and buy a car from the car dealer will pay the GST to department. The car buyer, the consumer will go and file refund with the department, saying that I have borne the incidence of the GST, so give the refund back to me. So there are many aspects of the facts which I am not clear from the judgment itself. So why are we discussing Rohan Corporation?
sir, even because probably
We
I
only
have to
started Rohan
study.
Corporation discussion.
I have to study that IBC case. Otherwise, from the
No.
judgment, I could not.
We don't have
make
any
out.
material to study IBC case also. Where are you going to study it from? So you only started Rohan Corporation discussion when we were at case study number 1, developer A, developer B. You jumped into Rohan Corporation.
Sir, Rohan Corporation, we are referring only to determine whether is it a sale of supply of service or it falls under Schedule 3. Sale of building, incomplete building, unfinished building, will it fall under Schedule 3 or will it be a
But
supply
that was
of
not
service under
discussed by the
Schedule
High Court also, no. High Court simply saw very cursory facts and decided you have to pay the refund. They did not discuss Schedule 3. They did not discuss subject to para 5B of Schedule 2 was never examined in when we're looking at Schedule 3. Where was all this discussion? There is no discussion there.
It is.
There is no discussion about Schedule 3, isn't it?
Is it not there, sir?
No, sir. Madam Raghuram sir is superstar in the court. His court craft is a next level.
Sir, the judges admitted that the senior counsel's arguments are, accepted.
Correct, Raghuram sir, see, his court craft is of a next level. As students of this law, it will take us long time to reach that stature and to have that presence in court. Did Krishna Kumar discuss the meaning of subject to 5B, the words appearing in para 5, schedule 3? Yes or no? No. So then therefore nothing to discuss in this judgment.
What I understood, the ratio can be taken from there because he has openly said, I fully understand the, arguments advanced by the senior counsel. That means that
he understands,
but
we don't understand what he understood. See, madam, we only need to know, we don't want to know why the judge was impressed. We only want to know, having been impressed, what is the conclusion? Is incomplete building also to be treated as a complete building? You and I both know the plain words of Schedule 3 does not permit it. So therefore, Krishna Kumar does not know GST. At least in a closed, I know when it is recording, in a closed conference, we can respectfully submit that the judge did not appreciate the language in para 5 schedule 3 subject to 5b of schedule 2. Those words have not been examined by the learned judge. So therefore he does not know GST.
I was thinking that only operation of law was not discussed. I mean, the court has not analyzed that. That was my understanding. Maybe, after you telling, I will read it once again, sir.
So
Because
therefore,
the
we do
judgment
not
concludes saying give the refund, along with interest, don't delay.
So many poor people have paid GST when it is not payable. So many rich people have got refund when they were not supposed to get refund. We leave all those things aside.
So this case is not reference for analyzing whether it is a schedule 2 or schedule 3 on unfinished projects.
They have not examined this question. So how can, see, Sudhanshu Shekhar Mishra, 1962 judgment, it says a decision is an authority for what it decides and not what it may also follow from the decision. See, we're doing all this bandage work. Somewhere, some sentence from some judgment we take, stick it somewhere, make this full patchwork only we're doing.
But test for supply, everything is there in the. I will read it once again and come back to you for my clarification, sir, because. Oh, you mean to say court has not analyzed only the. Okay.
We always credit to advocate who gets a good outcome for a client. But as a student of the subject, we are not interested in the outcome in the case. We are interested in the ratio laid down by the court. That is what we want to use it later now.
Okay, so if we go to the next scenario, so in this case also,
No, Venu doesn't answer Venu's question. Venu was wrestling with the question of whether it is compensation or consideration. Sir, ಟಿಫನ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರ?
Sir, then it will not fit into any of the scenarios. No, sir, it is not a sale or service, is not a sale of immobile property or supply of service is not decided. And compensation and
the developer A has forfeited the incomplete building in order to exit a contract that he failed to fulfill. Madam, this is very important. I'll mention. We'll take an example of a plot. See, I'll give an example of a plot development project.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for
There is a noise, sir.
okay. Sorry for deviating. Take a plot development project. Now, 10 plots are being developed in one undeveloped parcel of land. The common roads are developed, which gives rise to the identity of the specific 10 plots. It is the roads that mark the boundary. Now the plots will be sold to customers. The roads will be registered in the name of the local authority. Registering the roads in favor of local authority, is it a supply?
No.
No. Your heart tells it is no. But what is the reason? The plot is sold to a buyer in exactly the same way in which the deed is executed in favor of local authority.
Correct.
So now, giving up the road portion of the land, see, road is sitting on the land. The road portion of the land is also conveyed to the local authority within the meaning of Section 5 of Transfer of Property Act. Is it a supply? No, it is not a supply because it is a forfeiture. Forfeiture is not supply. It is not
Yes.
within the 8 forms of supply.
Yeah, correct.
Although forfeiture in some sense behaves like transfer. But legally, stricto sensu, it means it is a forfeiture. Now the exiting developer has lost claim. Once he decided he is incapable of fulfilling the remainder of the contract, he has to forfeit the incomplete building. Forfeiture is not supply. There can be benefit to the landowner because he is now in a better position to negotiate with the next developer because already there is an incomplete structure. Maybe the design, etc., is also very nicely done. So the developer is forfeiting. It is not supply. Forfeiture for compensation. No GST incidence. So we have to visualize everything that behaves like a transfer is not supply. It should be exactly like a transfer, exactly like a sale, exactly like barter, license, rental, lease, disposal to be supply. If it is something else, exactly, but slightly like one of these does not does not forcibly become a supply. We can't use adjustum generis in section 7. So therefore, this question of whether it is consideration or compensation needs to also be concluded in the first case study to be able to proceed further.
Yes, sir. So another angle, what I was thinking, whenever the bigger piece of land on which he relinquishes the rights, in relinquishment, the same exactly whatever it is a mirror of whatever he's, making it to pieces and selling it to others. Instead, the bigger road, the bigger piece of land is given away to the government. He's relinquishing his right. So in relinquishment, there is no consideration. There is no consideration. He's not receiving anything from the government. He's giving it to.
No, you can't say. He's not doing this for free. Forfeiture is the consideration is not only increasing, he's not receiving cash only or receiving some asset. Decreasing my liability is also consideration.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, you can't say this was given away, then it is unenforceable. How can you say it's an enforceable transaction?
Because this is as per some BDA rule, you have to.
See, the way in which the contract is formed can be by statutory operation also, not necessarily by a deed of agreement with the parties. No, we've seen in mineral area where Supreme Court said that contract formation need not be in the traditional form of a deed. It can partake the character of a statutory terms being imposed, which are agreed by a party. The developer says, I agree to the terms of PDA rules. That forms the contract, no? It is why Anson spent so much time in discussing what is the chapter called formation of contract. Formation of contract is a topic in contract law to explain what are all the various ways in which contracts are formed. We are only, as statutory auditors, used to reading an agreement and thinking that that is the only way in which a contract is formed.
Maybe that is the reason why they have not put this relinquishment or assignment into 8 forms of supply, sir.
We don't have to second guess why they excluded. They want to tax only these many. They have not taxed anything else. See, if we read, for example, for the benefit of younger members listening, if we read Entry Tax Act of 1979, if we read Special Entry Tax of 2004, how in Palma Lab, Samyukta Karnataka, the statute was, certain notifications were quashed. We'll understand that Sai explains this very nicely. These are all words called nomen juris, words that have meaning in statute. So therefore, historically, right from 1958, or even in 55 when Madras High Court was examining, they said, when a word is used in a statute in a particular manner, find out what is the statutory meaning available to that word and import that meaning in the context, because Parliament did not use words that already have a certain statutory meaning and decided to give a different meaning but still use the same words. They have not deviated from the well-established meaning because they want the well-established meaning to apply here. So why they did not include forfeiture, we don't have to analyze. The fact that they have not used forfeiture is sufficient for us to know that forfeiture will not be supplied.
Assignment also will not be supplied, forfeiture will not be supplied. So in this case,
So therefore, but here it is not assignment, we concluded.
yes, sir.
There is forfeiture of the building, that is not supply.
Hmm.
There is compensation, that is also not liable to tax because it is not consideration.
So under which circumstances it will fall under supply, sir?
No. In this use case, suppose in this case, they were not to terminate the contract. They were to terminate all booking agreements.
Hmm.
With all customers, they terminate all the booking agreements, saying that we are planning to do something else. We plan to, like Ganesh said, refund your money or whatever we are going to do. Terminate all the booking agreements so that the WIP is now lawfully with the developer A, and he decides to merge with the landowner. Developer and landowner decide to merge the two entities. So therefore, they decide to collapse the lesser rights into greater rights. See, these are all transactions. Why we are discussing use cases are because in this case, what will be the treatment? That's all. If we say somehow I want to levy tax on this, that is not the objective. Where the developer decides to sell this incomplete building, instead of selling it to 100 buyers, he decides to sell it to the landowner. Now the landowner is not buying it in the capacity of landowner, he is buying it in the capacity of a buyer, a wholesale buyer. Then GST will apply.
Only in this case.
But we're getting sidetracked. We're going away from the use case that we started to discuss. We have to conclude the use case.
Okay. So coming to the last portion, whether it is a compensation, there also, like, sir, there we discussed about section 64 of Easement Act, where in case of termination of, in case of breach of a contract, the licensee gets the compensation. In such case, it will not be liable for GST. It will be called as only, yes, sir.
Breach by licensor, licensee is entitled to compensation. Breach by licensee cannot demand compensation. You know, they're very careful.
So that, sir, that was discussed, but it will not fit in. I'll just conclude it that way. It will not fit in. Why that section 64 of Easement Act was drawn, I really do not know, because who's breaching the contract? So, sir, to conclude, we have, I mean, if I conclude this way, probably, I do not know, you may not agree, but unless and until we go through the contract clause by clause, under which section or how exactly it is designed, we cannot uniformly categorize for this transaction GST will apply or for that transaction GST will not apply. It is purely driven by the contractual obligation.
No, but in a study group discussion, you cannot say, I don't know the answer. We have to assume clauses in the contract and then come to conclusion. If these are the clauses, then this will be the treatment.
Sir, in whatever classes I analyzed, GST is not applicable in any of the cases, sir.
1 minute. We come to second case study. Second case study, you mentioned that there is a sale deed by developer A to developer B.
Sale of building.
It is not his to sell because he has already sold it to 100 customers.
As is whereas basis he is selling,
No,
sir.
madam, it is already in the name of 100 customers. How can you resell it to somebody else? This is the Devanali site example. Everybody has got sale deed for the same plot of land. All but one deed are void. How can there be a sale deed? So second use case also is not valid. First use case was not valid. Second is also not valid. What is the third one you said?
Sir, only one is that the contract gets terminated, the landowner gets into a new contract with the developer B. Landowner gets into a new contract with developer B. So in such case, whether GST is applicable or not.
No, but first one was
First one is a
assignment.
sale, sir.
Assignment.
Sale, assignment. Third one is compensation, operation of law. Only
Okay,
three
so
possible scenarios.
So you have to now give conclusion.
So in none of the cases, GST would be
My
applicable.
concern is not about whether GST is applicable. My concern is none of these structures are legally valid.
Yes, sir. So practically there are, we may not encounter such a.
No, we will encounter. You know why I'm telling you? Because IBC law is being tightened. Many projects are being launched. In Bangalore, left, right, and center projects are being launched. It's not going to be easy to sell all the projects. Builders, when they create these special purpose vehicles, they are likely to go into liquidation. RERA is becoming more and more forceful in protecting consumers' rights. Time limit projects are not now cannot be delayed by 5 and 10 years. It has to be completed in a time-bound manner. So therefore, there will be many occasions. Many occasions will be there when projects will go under, where all members of study group will find opportunities to advise people as to what is going on. So therefore, we cannot simply accept any contract just because somebody was able to type it out. We have to test the contract for its legal validity before we decide about the GST treatment. There are only limited ways in which such extenuating circumstances can be salvaged in a legally valid manner. If you arrive at a legally valid structure, GST incidents can readily be overcome if we want to overcome it. If we are saying, let us not start another GST issue by taking a position, then if we are willing to pay more tax, we won't have any disputes. But if we want to understand the right tax to be paid, there's a possibility we will have a dispute. We should know how to respond if a dispute were to arise, because after all, an officer does not need much to issue a show cause notice.
Sir, for officer issuing a show cause notice is very easy, no, sir. He is going to refer to Schedule 2 and he will issue. For him, there is no problem. How are we going to defend? Is that what the issue?
How we will defend will depend on whether we have understood the legal relations in termination of a JDA and execution of a fresh JDA, and how the defense can be weakened if we do all these impossible arrangements like assignment, sale deed, lotto loske, all these sorts of things we end up doing. We should advise the client not to do such things.
But is this practice is not prevalent in real estate industry, sir? Like finding another developer and he carrying out a transaction?
Yes, it happens very often. They will send the draft tri-party agreement for review, because there the lawyer is saying do a tri-party so that you can save stamp duty. But when the tri-party agreement comes in, we are supposed to give suggested changes to the agreement so that there is clarity as far as what is going on in these contracts.
Okay.
I'll give a simple example. I'm sure all of us have seen JDS, which says income tax, property tax, GST, VAT, sales tax, service tax, extra. There's a general clause in a JDA saying taxes are extra. Now you don't know whether they're referring to tax on inward supply applicable on RCM basis or tax on outward supply that is applicable on forward charge basis. But the clause reads, so when a draft comes to a chartered accountant to review from a GST point of view, we have to take that clause and split it up into tax on transfer of development rights, tax on sale of units, tax on sale of unsold units, tax on construction service delivered to landowner. All the 4 clauses have to be broken up and discussed in the clause and not simply say income tax, property tax, GST extra.
Sir, I have another doubt. It is not directly relevant, but in income tax on assignment, it is applicable, no, sir. Capital gain is applicable, no, sir.
Because in income tax, they are treating the benefits arising from substantive compliance sufficient to trigger what we call time of supply. But it is like saying we pay tax on advance received for supply of services. Are the services supplied or not? It is not supplied. So income tax has advanced the time when they will collect income tax does not mean the transaction is completed. We have to levy tax on time of supply, not on the time determined in income tax as the time for payment of income tax.
So that also, like, comes to our mind directly. Okay, for if it is assignment, income tax is applicable. So definitely GST should also be applicable. We forcibly
What a crude way of analyzing GST.
We forcibly think in from that angle. But I was quite happy after the author himself has given a wording saying that it requires more study or something like that on individual property.
If author only is saying further study, then why is he author? Without study, how he became author?
It requires a further examination, something like that he has written. So
you will ask unnecessary questions.
Okay, sir. With that, I have concluded my presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Venu.
Sir, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, when this insolvency professional transferred this incomplete building, is it a service, sir?
Is it a good, sir?
No, sir.
Then it is a service, sir.
Then I have some doubts in this. Can the service be stored and delivered, sir?
You are looking at service as a verb, like a chartered accountant service, and you're trying to equate it here. Don't have to do the same thing. See now, Maila, you're talking Rohan Corporation now.
In relation to the
Okay,
same
now,
transaction, I'm talking not judge.
Why I'm saying it is important to understand the facts is even in Rohan Corporation, when Lotus Corporation went into liquidation, remember there was no customer. Lotus Corporation had WIP.
Correct.
Lotus Corporation, maybe the land was own land or land was JDA land. See, if it was own land, then the bidding would have been only for land.
Land. Correct.
Land undeveloped was 100 crores. Land partly developed is 180 crores. So clearly here there was a JDA and Rohan Corporation had privately entered into a revised JDA with the landowner. So Rohan Corporation had come into possession of the land. Now Rohan Corporation had to help the landowner evict the Lotus Company. Lotus Company had various creditors who are troubling Lotus Company and not interrupting the disposal. So therefore, see, look at what is happening behind the scenes.
True, sir.
So Rohan Corporation came forward and said, I will give you 80 crores, boss, you pay off all your creditors. Rohan Corporation did not want to do a going concern transfer. They could have been a resolution applicant, very successfully become a resolution applicant and become a shareholder in this Lotus Corporation. See, there are various things that did not happen. It could have been far simpler. Imagine paying 14 crores was the simplest alternative.
Hmm.
And after picking that alternative, they decided to go for refund. So many things have happened. So land maybe was somebody else's, incomplete building was there. Resolution professional said, look, I want to give you this incomplete building. I'll tell you also the reasoning why Rohan Corporation went the way it went. You know the judgment of Supreme Court by Variava, where they said there is no transfer of property in goods involved in the execution of a works contract until there is a customer. It is a self-service. That para 105, everyone keeps quoting, no? And which that L&T's judgment that upheld K. Raheja.
Okay.
There they said there is no transfer. Suppose a building is completed 70% and now a customer comes to purchase. 70% there is no sales tax or service tax. Any sales tax, service tax is on the remaining 30%. Now, what is the purpose of para 5B? Para 5B is put into Schedule 2 only to overcome L&T. So that, madam is getting doubt, 1 minute. So that if a customer comes at the 99% of completion of the building also, he has to pay tax on 100%. If any part of the proceeds are paid before completion, entire consideration is liable to tax is what para 5B has done. Para 5B was there in service tax also. Madam, so this amendment was done to overcome L&T. And today, do you know any project where 70% is complete, no customer has come, customer comes at 70% stage, we collect VAT and service tax for 30%. On the 70%, did we reverse ITC? No. Nobody in the country followed L&T judgment. Nobody wants L&T judgment. L&T judgment was a judgment that fell into disuse. Both sides stopped using this judgment because this judgment did not lay down the good law. If it had gone further, maybe government would have agitated, but this came from Supreme Court. So there's no possibility of going further. They said, don't worry, we will solve this through legislation. We will not solve this judicially. So they inserted 5B. 5B was there in declared services also in service tax. Basically, if you don't pay entire money after OC, on entire money you have to pay service tax, whether you pay it before OC or pay it after OC. Now you keep in mind, in Lotus Corporation, 70% was complete, no customers were there, self-financed, then enter Rohan Corporation. So insolvency professional said, Ayyo, nanagu gottillappa, I don't have completion certificate, so therefore I can't take Schedule 3. I am charging you GST, you quietly pay me. Afterwards, you and your government and your court and your GST department, you do whatever you want. He collected that 14 crores, paid that 14 crores. Now, Rohan Corporation is a registered person for other purposes. But in this case, Rohan Corporation is as good as an unregistered person. Rohan Corporation could have been Mr. Rohan also could have gone and purchased this building. Correct, no? How does he claim refund? He has claimed refund under Circular 188. An unregistered person, how he will claim refund for a booking cancellation where he cannot get credit note within Section 34 time limit. Under that route, they have filed. Deputy Commissioner of Mangalore, all his brain wires have all got fried. He did not know what to do. He has given RFD 2. He should have given RFD 3, saying 188 is not applicable to you. Somehow, understand, somehow, RFD 2 was obtained. RFD 8 was obtained. RFD 6 was issued, rejecting refund. Carry the matter straight to High Court. What was the ground in High Court? Varyava's judgment, saying that until a customer is there is no supply. But today there is customer. Today there is customer at 70% completion stage. It was not meant for sale. It was meant for leasing. But now that entire thing has changed once it entered the hands of the insolvency professional. The only protection from GST comes from Para 5, Schedule 3. And regarding building, Para 5, Schedule 3 is contingent upon satisfying Para 5B, Schedule 2. That should have been analyzed. Had the attention gone to these two schedules, the decision would not have come out in this fashion. The problem is, this 14 crores is hit by 17.5 C and D in Rohan's hands. The master game of idala.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Madam, you had long list of questions.
No, sir. How do we get to know of all this background, sir? Because by merely reading this Rohan Corporation judgment, we don't get to know much, no, sir. Like even
No,
the
that's it.
facts are not clear. I mean, I'm just asking if we want to, if facts are not clear from the judgment, where else do we go? Like you are talking about RFD.
Tuesday morning study group.
Oh,
No,
okay.
we have to read L&T, Varyava's judgment. We have to see what happened in the judgment. Therefore, what happened in service. See, history of, whenever we talk about it, all the seniors in our profession have shown the way, saying that whenever you're looking at a provision, trace the history of this provision. Why did this provision become? Has anybody spent time analyzing why we have Para 5B?
Sir, only after you telling this Para 5B Schedule 2 is created to overcome L&T judgment. I mean, I really don't know, sir. Only after you telling, now I came to know. I'm very sorry.
See, in 1958, when Canon Dunkerley was rendered, there, I think, page 681, Supreme Court said, don't rely on stamp duty judgments. In 1958, only Supreme Court said, don't rely on stamp duty judgments. Today, in Nilkamal, in that Srikanth Kulkarni, etc., we are reading stamp duty judgments. 1958. My father was in middle school. That time itself, Supreme Court said, don't use stamp duty cases for GST. Today, you see all stamp duty cases only we are quoting for GST. See, all these amendments are there for a particular reason, particular purpose. Why we have subject to 5B, sale of building in Para 3, in Schedule 3. See, it's easy to say, government does not understand GST, government does not know what they're doing. Maybe we don't understand what all they have kept in mind by inserting few clauses here and there. Maybe officer does not know those things also, therefore he is also not bothered about it. But we are also blissfully ignorant.
Yeah, super, sir. Thank you, sir.
Officer should have said 188 is not applicable to you and cancelled it. See, the grounds for rejection are also very important. Merely rejecting the refund is not sufficient.
Drafting rejection order is also important.
Exactly. Refund rejection is a talented kelsa. But they think rejecting itself is a revenue collected for the department. Somebody was even telling that in Mangalore that Rohan has got back that 14 crores also. Jatin sir, Madam Meli.
Jatin sir, one more point. You were referring L&T and 5B, and one more, the terminology which was there in 111 of L&T also was based on agreement entered with the buyers. So the term agreement itself is missing in 5B of this Schedule 2. So I think that will suffice, sir.
More than agreement. You're right. More than agreement, payment, they have made a criteria. So you cannot escape it at all. Because people can defer the dating of the agreement, etc.
Okay, because majorly what I'm trying to understand is the point when the agreement is entered with the customer, to that extent, whatever the property is completed, to that extent, there is no, it is treated as transfer of immobile property. So I think to that extent, I think, can we look only the criteria of agreement, or in addition to that, we also look into the receipt of consideration prior to OC and after OC? Because that was my analyzing when I was looking 111
Today,
with 5B, sir.
today, with para 5B, you
Huh.
cannot say 70% of the building is not transferred,
Yeah.
which means even though you come in at the 70% stage, since you are paying 100% of the consideration before OC, you have to pay tax on in the 70% also. Previously, with L&T, you did not have to pay VAT and service tax on 70.
That also only after L&T has come, that was analyzed, sir. Otherwise, Raheja, more or less, it was
Yeah,
paid on the whole component. Yeah. So
yes,
it's not.
and Raheja was not overruled also.
Yeah, it
Raheja
was
was
not included as-
confirmed and
yeah.
refined in L&T.
Correct. Yes. Sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Only in one case I tried, sir. Actually, this just 1 minute I'll take.
Please.
One of the developer was under this composition scheme, sir. So they have not paid, treating as immobile property till 2015. They have not paid, sir. 2016. So now they wanted to pay the tax. So we tried to apply L&T, sir, because they were under composition. So no ITC credit was there. So only based on the percentage and all the technical report, expert report, we tried to, sir, but till now we have not received any revisionary authority. So we are waiting, but we have tried to save taxes, and we have told the client that there is a risk in that. But based on percentage and L&T,
Composition is a very good case to try.
so we tried, sir, and we tried to save taxes based on L&T, but we don't know. Revisionary can open anytime. That is what our worry is. Yes.
So the logic is like, if a developer is building, say, 100 units, maybe the point at which he pays may be different, but on 100 units, the government wants 5%. Either, so our calculation should be like whether if a developer is building 100, tally it with 100 into 5%, whether he has paid or not. Whether he sells it to the buyer, I mean, whether he's selling it to the allottees or, unsold unit, or he's transferring to the landowner, whatever may be the case, the 100 should match. Is that what the government will look into, sir?
That is only for a successfully completed JDA, not for a terminated JDA.
Not for terminated JDA, but I'm saying because irrespective of whatever stage you are booking, if the developer is asked to collect on that sum, that means on the total value of that whatever he is going to sell, government wants 5%. That's why you are saying that 5B is introduced.
Now you see what has happened in Shamraju's case.
Anybody can pay.
What rubbish! And
Sir,
government advocate Jeevan Nirali this side, Hema Kumar
sir,
this side.
before that, sir, how do we know like which is good judgment or not good judgment, sir? I was thinking Rohan Corporation is a good judgment and it answers everything.
No, but there are many parts that are not examined, and maybe it was discussed during arguments, but did not reach the written order, published order.
Sir, Shamraju was on revenue, no, sir. Shamraju was on revenue share model.
Revenue? No. Shamraju was unregistered JDA. Unregistered JDA is nothing but unpaid contractor. It is not even a JDA. ಮದ್ವೆನೇ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇ ಸಾತ್ ಫೇರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಇವ್ರು 3ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇಳಿದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನ 4 ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ. ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಗಂಡ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಅಂತೆ. ಕಥೆ ಇವ್ರದ್ದು. So, Sujata madam, all judgments. Sujata madam ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರ?
ಇಲ್ಲ sir, I'm here.
All judgments are bad judgments unless they expose the reasons from the law. if a judgment does not give a reason from the law, but invents a reason outside the law to give relief to the petitioner, it is not a binding precedent. It must say this section reads like this, therefore like this. I'll give an example. In Amaravati High Court, Cotton Corporation gave a judgment saying that 7th February is the last date. So we will count 3 years on 7th February and 91 days, 92 days, all that they did. And they said 27th November is the last date. Where is it in the statute? Everyone is celebrating this WhatsApp universities, everyone is forwarding a okay. But where is the ratio in the law? Can we say month as days? We have to refer to General Clauses Act and see if General Clauses Act permits month to be read as days. We know, I mean, basics we know, month is not days. So therefore, if they don't expose the reasons for the answer, it is safe to assume the answer is wrong. With the reasons itself, answers can be wrong because the reasons are not right. So you will know that that is how judgments are not reliable. And especially judgments that come from writ petition. It is only to mold a relief by a court of equity to alleviate the problems of the petitioner.
Oh.
Okay, na? Next
Thank
year.
you, sir. Over to Vinu.
Papa Venu had got some confidence.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲ
ಅಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು okay. So I think this is kind of insights, but needed a little more discussion from Sujata Madam in completing the points which Jatin sir has mentioned. Madam, you had written the small article. I want you to incorporate those points and circulate for the further reading of the members what else we have to read. And thank you very much, Jatin sir, for enlightening on the different aspects of the contract. Yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you. Thank you.